Good morning and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Bob Martin. I'm the president of the Imagine America Foundation. Joining me on today's session of Imagine America Radio is my foundation colleague, Lee Doubleday. Lee and I are extremely excited to be talking about today's topic, education and training opportunities for 2021 graduates, sponsored by Porter and Chester Institutes. Porter and Chester has 9 campuses in New England area spread out between Connecticut and Massachusetts. Porter and Chester Institute is also a 15-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award Program, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 5,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me just refer any and all inquiries about Imagine America, our scholarship program, or our services to our website, www.imagine-america.org, or just urge you to either call Lee or email Lee or myself at the information provided on our website.
Since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Porter and Chester Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how Porter and Chester Institute is helping meet this need is Jack Burke. Jack is Porter and Chester's Director of Marketing and Admissions and has been working with high schools for over 20 years.
Before turning the program over to Jack, let me very quickly go over today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, including questions and answers. Once we finish these remarks, we move directly into Jack's presentation. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A button on the Zoom meeting feature. At the end of the presentation, or approximately 10:25, Lee and I will then present any and all questions offered by our participants, our audience. We will address those questions, as many as possible, and provide written responses in follow-up emails. We will have a hard close at 10:30 a.m. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Mr. Jack Burke. Jack, the floor is yours.
Well, thanks very much, Bob, and thank you, Lee. It's always great to get back together with you guys, and we have such a great relationship, all student-centered. So thank you very much for this opportunity. So as you can see on the screen, what we have here for you is a statement, and it's a statement that we use in all of our webinars, and it's a great saying: education and training opportunities for, of course, can you believe it, 2021 high school graduates. So yes, our mission in education, in today's education especially, is to get career education to our students to prepare them for essential careers out there. As you can see in the pictures tell 1,000 words, and you can see across the top here, you can see my cursor. This gentleman here is an IT student, of course. This is actually a picture of our dental assisting students. You can see they have their lab coat, and here they have their Porter and Chester Institute here. And then on the far right over here, these students are actually our HVAC students, and they're all uniformed, and you can see their names again on their shirts here. Behind them, they have training boards here. I'll get into a lot more as we go through the presentation, but kind of wanted to point out a couple of things. You know, these are actually our students. You can see safety glasses, professionalism. You know, it's really like going to a job. Really, that's what I hear from a lot of our students. So let's jump in, and of course, the most important thing. Yeah, these webinars go by so quick, and I know I talk fast, but psychologists I read something. I used to do a lot of presentations in high schools, like a lot of them, and I used to think, gosh, I think I talk too fast. And I did some research, and I found out that the human mind can actually compute about 450 words a minute. So of course, being a curious mind, I timed myself. I was about 275. So I know you're probably thinking, go. So I'm just going to keep going, and I know you're going to keep absorbing. So, and look forward to the Q&A at the end. But what I love about this first slide is, see my cursor, Porter and Chester and Imagine America Foundation. It's a great relationship. Okay, so let's go on to our next slide here. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about our agenda. So just very quickly, again, we'll welcome. We kind of got that out of the way. Just a quick side note, actually, both my parents were educators in Massachusetts. They're both deceased now. My mother was a high school guidance counselor for many years. And when I got into this industry years ago, I remember she said to me, Jack, you're going to career education. You know all about all types of education. I have education myself personally. And I said, yes, Ma. She said, why did you choose career education over anything else? And I said, Mom, I want to have somebody graduate. And when they graduate, they have something of value that they can make money with. And she said, okay, that's very noble. And just be prepared for people to change your mind. I thought that was good advice. And I'm sure you all get a kick out of that. So welcome to high school counselors and teachers. God bless you all, and I hope you stay safe. All right, who is Porter and Chester Institute? Very quickly, started back in 1946 as the Porter School of Engineering out of Rocky Hill, Connecticut. We served a lot of World War II vets that either were still in the country and they just had to basically reposition out of a factory that might be making parachutes or tanks or something like that. And they had to reposition to going back to making, garments or possibly making refrigerators or making jet engines or whatever it was. So Porter School of Engineering was a drafting school, specifically one program drafting. They used T-squares and slide rules and educated thousands of returning vets right at the opportune time. We started in 1946. So many of those graduates, we're right now in Connecticut, Mass, so this is really easy. We have 3 campuses in PA as well, but the audience right now is Connecticut, Mass. So you guys are familiar with Sikorsky and Pratt & Whitney in General Electric, General Dynamics, Fafner Behrens in New Britain. I mean, I go way back. I remember the old Quincy shipyard that's not there now, but so many of them went to work in places like that. I mean, right out of Porter and Chester. So we have tens of thousands of graduates over our many years. What programs do we offer? I'm going to cover them. What is our process? I'll certainly give a high level of that. And then Q&A. And a huge congratulations to anybody who graduates from high school. You know, as I bump into a lot of people over my years being in the industry, they'd say, oh, high school, oh, those kids have it made and everything. And I educate them very, very nicely. High school's really hard. High school is very difficult from a social perspective, very, very difficult from an academic perspective. And of course, they're growing up. These are young adults growing up. So their life is tough enough anyway. So any students who graduate from high school, they absolutely congratulations. And I applaud every one of them. And the graduation rates, of course, you see them, we're very, very in tune with all that as well. And some students actually, honestly, they go on and they for whatever reason, maybe personal reasons sometimes, right? There's a lot of tough situations out there. Maybe they don't graduate from high school, but they get instilled by high school guidance counselors and instructors. I hear it all the time. Is that, look, I had to get out of the house, or I didn't have any money, or my parents, this and that, and all the stuff that you guys live every day. And then they turn around, they go get their GED from adult education. And it always stems back to somebody somewhere made a huge change in their life. And so many times it's those that I'm talking to right now. So thank you very much for being such a great part of so many students' lives. And congratulations to them that graduate. This slide here is kind of, it's really important to get this right out there. It's a lot easier for me to do it now than it was many years ago when I'd be a guest speaker at a Rotary or Chamber of Commerce or, whatever. I did a lot of presentations at the High School Counselors Association. I was up at the MCSA in Hyannis. Maybe some of you were there and you saw me make a presentation. And I've never apologized for what we teach. And I just want to get that right out there, to set your sights on careers in healthcare, computers, and skilled trades. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right to be a plumber. It's all right to be an electrician. It's actually career education and training, especially in 21, is much more than just a consolation prize. And of course, we're finding that out now. I mean, I don't have the time, but I could go over, hundreds and hundreds of students that already have got a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. They're coming out of the military, or they're career changers. And that's really who we have come to our school. Again, New England born and raised, technical education since 46. We talked about that. Learn by doing is another way of saying, I guess, hands-on. Same idea. You're going to actually learn it, and then you're actually going to do it. So it's really, really key in any type of education, and it's, of course, especially in ours. Teams to support you. All of our campuses, our 9 New England campuses, as well as the 3 campuses in Pennsylvania, under the name of York Technical Institute, are actually managed by one team. So we have one president and CEO. We have one vice president of education. And I'm the corporate director of admissions and marketing. So I cover those 12 campuses. Why is that important to you and to your students? Because we have consistency and standardization from campus to campus, and we have a tremendous support system. So, I can say this genuinely, and I've been saying it for many, many years, and I've had many positions in the organization, is that, the whole thing about this is it is student-centered. Students come first, and we support them. Lastly, you can see the ACCSC, the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. We're accredited with them, have been for many, many years. In my other capacity, I was an executive director and a vice president for 14 years. I managed campuses. I did a lot of that. Of course, my heart was always in admissions, and I've been in the admissions marketing piece for most of my my years. But anyway, the ACCSC, all the different accreditations that we go through, whether it's a 5-year renewal, sometimes a 7-year renewal, it really is a lot of fun. I always looked at it that way. I know it's stressful. I know high schools get accredited. Everybody has an accreditation. People figure that out. Yeah, Starbucks has an accreditation, and an education should be accredited. And I've always welcomed them. They're very rigid. We love to talk about our grad rates, our placement rates. We love to talk about our faculty, our student surveys, employer surveys, clinical surveys, extra surveys, and that type of thing. And our accreditation, of course, is the key to the Title IV funding. So that's really what it's all about as well as excellence. Our mission, vision, and values, I don't have time to read it all, but I tell you, it's totally student-centered. And I kind of want to just skip to values very quickly. Our mission is, of course, to work with committed students and to help them. And our values are around professionalism and teamwork and integrity, excellence, trust, relationships, accountability, and having fun. And what we tell our students is that you're looking for those values in a school. Absolutely, you should be. And you should be looking for high standards in a school. So you're looking for those values in a school, and we're looking for those values in a student. So we have soft skills as well, professional skills as well. So while we're teaching a student about Ohm's law and they can get into the electrical program and things like that, that's great. And we will teach them that portion. But we have a very, very strong curriculum. And we're also going to be teaching them the importance of being professional and how important it is to be a team player and trust and things like that. So that's what they're looking for. That's what we're looking for. And it sets up for a really great relationship. As Lee was saying, and thank you, Lee, for that, is that we have campuses strategically located. As you can see, my cursor, Chicopee. So we know where that is, Western Mass, up in the Berkshires. Beautiful place to be, especially in these next couple of months. Then we're in Worcester, and then we just moved from Canton. We went south to Brockton, right off of Route 24. So it's local, within the Boston area. We pick up some Rhode Island. And that type of thing. So those are our 3 Massachusetts campuses. And then in Connecticut, we're in Enfield, up near the airport, Rocky Hill, right in the center of the state outside of Hartford, Waterbury, Stratford, Hamden, and then New London. And we can actually see Electric Boat from our campus. Actually, I talked to the human resource person down there, Carl, and I talked to him maybe once a year or something. Last time I spoke to him, we had 13 students working at Electric Boat mostly from our drafting department. So that's good. And then, of course, we have Rhode Island. So we do pull a lot. So we're actually members of the High School Councils Association in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Pennsylvania. And we have an ambassador that I work with for many, many years. His name is Ray Short. Many of you may know him, especially if you're from Connecticut. And he's actually a retired administrator from a high school. And he's an ambassador for us. And he goes to all the association meetings, and he's a guest speaker on some of the academic, think tanks and on the boards and things like that. So stay in tune with that. So yeah, that's it. And what's so important about this is that when you have that many campuses strategically located, you get into the community. That's good for employers. That's good for the employees. That's good for education. We're familiar with what's going on, and those are our locations. Some of our graduates, we wanted to pull out just a few. And here's a couple of companies. I strongly, would suggest you go to Porter-Chester, one word, porterchester.edu, and then you can go right to our career services page, and you'll see, all types of testimonial videos. You're going to see lists and lists of different employers, and I'm sure there'll be a number from your area. But you can see there's construction, there's allied health here, there's information and technology, and a lot of good companies out there. Career services. Our employer-based curriculum, the key to this whole thing, and it's always been, is we have PACs. You're in education, I'm in education, we have acronyms, right? PAC, Program Advisory Committees. And they meet several times a year in conjunction with our accreditation. It's a good thing to do. And what we do is we meet with the employers and we ask them, what should we be teaching? What are we teaching that's antiquated now, or it's just not necessary? And if it's fluff, we want it out of our curriculum. We want to be teaching a core curriculum that's going to be valuable to the student. So when they go out there, they can say, I know this, I know the job, I know the career, and guess what? I can actually do it. So I'm familiar with AutoCAD. I'm familiar with this particular type of diagnostic scan tool in the automotive industry, or whatever it is. So our PAC committees meet, the employers tell us what we should be including in our curriculum, and then we, if we agree with it and it makes sense, then we incorporate it. We have full-time career services, service advisors, that's key. I've been in the business long enough to know there's all types of schools out there. Many of them similar to ours are not around anymore. Many of them went out, and I was fine with that because we have high standards. They should have high standards. And while we're growing, we're adding programs, we're adding campuses. We're changing things very quickly for the better and growing. A lot of schools went out, and that was unfortunate. But you have to have very high standards. And our career service advisors actually work for our school. So they get to know the student, they get to know what makes a student tick and what they need to work on. Maybe they're shy, maybe they're not shy and they talk too much or whatever it is. So we work with them one-on-one. We talked about professionalism and our values, and we get them ready to go out there and interview. And we do mock interviews and things like that. It's also ongoing. We don't start that in the month before they graduate. We start that literally, it's the first day of class, our career services, first day of class, our career services get introduced to our students. Our next start is October 19th. So we're starting just in, oh my heavens, it's like under 2 weeks. Yeah. And we have a huge start. We had a great start in April. We had a great start in July in the COVID. And we have another enormous start in October. And why I say that is our career services will be day one talking to our students about what's your dream, how can we work together? And they work with them right through there. So we do not guarantee a job. We're very clear in our admissions process, go out of our way to say we cannot guarantee a job. It's illegal. We don't guarantee anything, but we will give you 100%. And everybody comes into the school understanding that. We can't interview for them, and they know that. So it's really good. It's a really good process. And then we'll go right in here, and I know I'm moving fast here, so let's take a look. Healthcare, these are our programs. We have healthcare, skilled trades, and technology. And just very quickly, we have dental assisting, medical assisting, practical nursing, cosmetology, skilled trades, automotive, electrician, HVAC, and plumbing. And then under technology, computer-aided, we'll call it a CAD, electronics and computers. I stop on CAD because it's my favorite program, but outside of that, what I like to do is say we have 2 Ds there. People say, well, Jack, why do you have, no, CAD's like just CAD. That last D is design. So it's computer assisted drafting and design. I love that because what ends up happening, in some ways you can train somebody to go ahead and get into a computer and be able to do, the math to build a house or maybe get a slope in a parking lot, or something like that, or if it's manufacturing. But to the design factor, students love because they get to use their creativity. So it's computer assisted drafting and design. And so we're going to kick it off. I know I'm going to fly through this, but again, porterchester.edu. You can go there and look at our dental assistant program, take a deep dive. It's got all types of information there for you. So a dental assistant, of course, a lot of it is chairside procedures and working with the dentist. We'll go right into here. This program here is 9 months long, and the career growth over the next 10 years is 11%. Here is our tuition cost here, and here is the median yearly pay. And of course, we have our asterisks and our references over here to our resources. So this is dental assisting. Medical assisting, similarly, I was actually around in 1993 when we actually started medical assisting. And I remember I believe I say this, and I'm pretty sure it's accurate. Maybe there's 1 or 2 other schools, probably in the country there were, but at the time it's at least one of the first schools to have a medical assisting program. And everybody's like, what's a medical assistant? I know what a nurse is. I know what a CNA is. And they didn't have PCTs in, but I know what a nurse is. I know what a secretary is. What's a medical assistant? Well, simply put, a medical assistant kind of combines them both. They combine the administrative and the clinical skills. So they can work front office or back office. They take patients' histories, they create and maintain the EMRs. Of course, that's what it is now, electronic medical records. And then they do the vital signs. They do EKGs. They do phlebotomy. And this is a picture of our students. Okay, medical assistant, similar, 9 months long, so it's a quick program, 23% career growth. Practical nursing, this, of course, is a very popular program. It's offered in 5 of our Connecticut campuses. We do not have it in Massachusetts or Pennsylvania at this time. We've had it in practical nursing in Connecticut since 2005. And it's a really great program. I know you guys all know this. You know, you're professionals, you know this. We have a practical nursing program. We do not have an LPN program. In other words, we'll teach the students the practical nursing information. It's all accredited by the State Board of Nursing of Examiners. It's approved by ACCSC. So our curriculum is the standard. Practical nursing is a very interesting program, but we'll teach the students what they need to know. That's practical nursing. When they graduate, my cursor, we'll prepare them for the NCLEX PN exam. When they graduate from us, then they go out and they take the NCLEX exam. And then when they pass that, that's when they get their license, and then they get the title of a licensed practical nurse. Very important. A huge program. Our classes fill all the time. We have day and evening programs, and we have very strict admissions criteria, and you should. You know, the Wonderlic plus the TEAS test plus an interview. There's a lot to it, but the students that get into this program, what a career. And a lot of them do go on to get their RN. This program is 15 months in the day, 21 months long in the evening, 11% career growth, probably 20% now since COVID. Cosmetology, misunderstood program. It's got a lot of chemistry, anatomy. It's quite an extensive program. It is a licensed trade as well, and that's a good thing. Anything that's licensed, I like licenses, because if a person's licensed in HVAC, electrical, plumbing, cosmetology, practical nursing, they get their ASE designations in automotive, and all that type of stuff, that gives them power in the workplace. And that's why the license trade is so important. And that's why our curriculum is approved by the state, so that we can give them the related instruction hours so that they can then go and take the licensing exam and become licensed. This is actually a picture of one of our labs. It looks like they took, we took a couple of pictures. Looks like we kind of blended them together a little bit, but we have cosmetology in our Rocky Hill campus only at this time. We actually have a salon inside the campus, and we do the public comes to get haircuts, and we give free haircuts to, we have different days we give free haircuts to different VA, sometimes to the elderly population. We also cut the hair from our students. And down in the bottom right-hand corner, it's called La Bella Vida. So when we started this program about 5 years ago, we had to name it, and the students named it La Bella Vida. We had a lot of different great names, so we chose that. Really classy name. Students are really very, very inventive in there. They got a lot going on. You have an eye for style and trends, and do you enjoy creativity? Yes. Okay, cosmetology could be for you. It's 12 months long, 7 to 9% growth. A licensed trade. Automotive. This one here is very interesting. I was at a Chamber of Commerce meeting about 10 years ago. I was getting a cup of coffee at the table, and somebody walked up, they saw my lanyard, and they said, who do you work with? I said, Porter and Chester. Now, what do you guys teach? I said, automotive stuff like that. He goes, oh, I'm going to stop you right there. He goes, automotive? There are no jobs in that anymore. I say, why do you say that? He goes, because the cars are so good, they don't even break down anymore. And I was very polite, we're all professionals. And I said, sir, I don't know what business you're in. He was in insurance. He owned an insurance agency, something like that. I said, if you really want to know the number, I just happen to know it. You can look it up. Actually, this country right now they have a demand for over 63,000 automotive technicians, because they are all computers. You're right, they are all computers, but guess what? They do break down. And it's a great career. And as you can see, this gentleman here, he's in his uniform here. He's got his snap-on tools right here. He's actually a real student doing his thing. This gentleman looks like he's brought his car in, and because we are a licensed repair facility. And then, of course, you can see, picture tells 1,000 words. It is a great career. Over here, you can look, do you like to work with others and work with hands and be dependable? And generally, it's a really great passion for the automotive, and it's a great career. So 12 months long, steady growth. Career HVAC, similar, really a great program. Plumbing, electrical, low voltage. Here's our CAD. Computer-aided drafting, we did that. The steps of success. This is what we basically we really drill down on this and work with our students to get these steps of success. Educational funding. Yes, we have an educational funding department at every one of our campuses. We have professionals there that work with the students. So they get their FSA ID, they do their FAFSA, we meet with them one-on-one, and then we talk to them about their Title IV funding, and then the gap, and that's where Imagine America comes in. And I'm going to conclude right there. It's 10:24, so we're just landed on the mark here. So yes, let me very quickly talk about Imagine America. I have seen tears, I have seen laughter, I have seen, parents high-five each other in our offices when they find out that this student is going to get a scholarship, and they don't have to throw a football, and they don't have to score, outrageous marks on tests and things like that. They're getting an Imagine America scholarship. I love the name because they're it's an imagine. They're thinking, they're hope, and it's a great organization, and we love working with them. And for the last 15 years, and we will be doing that for many, many years to come. And then Port and Chester offers scholarships on their own a little bit from time to time, which is a good thing too. So we do everything that we possibly can to help them. And Imagine America, Lee, Bob, thank you very much. You have made success for many thousands of students. And I'm going to conclude there so we can hit the mark. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Really appreciate that, and then also the kind words. So right now we are going to begin the question and answer portion of our session. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to click on the Q&A button at the top of the screen there and ask a question. And I think we do have a couple of questions that's come in. This question comes from Liz. She wants to know what the placement rate is for your graduates and how do students finance tuition?
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, the placement rate is done. Placement rates are done by campus and by program. So what I'd recommend is that if you want a specific program in a specific campus, just go to porterchester.edu, and then you'll see there's a trail to get there. There's a path to get there, and you'll see disclosures. Click on that. It'll give you our graduation rates, and it will also give you our placement rates. Generally across the board, the ACCSC accreditation standards for placements gradually is 70%. They like to see a 70% graduation rate. And again, you can see them programmatically. And as far as how they finance it, yeah, I mean, it's Title IV funding. So the students will come in and they'll do their FAFSA, and then they'll apply for the Title IV funding. We have Pell Grants for those that qualify. And like as I mentioned, we also have the Title IV funding. And then there's Imagine America. Then we also have gap financing with different organizations if students need it. So
and Title IV funding would just be funding that is given to the student from the government, correct?
Yeah, thanks for the definition. That's exactly right. You're given it from the government, and schools that don't have that, nothing against it. There are some schools out there that don't want to bother with it, and so it's just cash. They may be talking about, they may have like a little IT course, and it's like 2 months long. They don't get involved in Title IV because you get involved in student government financing and being allowed to give students loans. You jump through a lot of hoops and you're in a very high standard. That's what we do. We love that part of it because it shows the credibility and the standardization that we live by. Okay.
And then Jack, this is Bob again.
Yeah.
Very quickly, just carrying one step forward on the financing. You have people at Porter and Chester that can help potential students or guidance counselors help the student fill out the FAFSA, because that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about filling out the FAFSA, see what you're eligible for. There might be some grant money available, but that's what you're there to help, your financial aid department, correct?
Yeah, exactly, Bob. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. And in our admissions department, basically our admissions department, most of our admissions team have been with us for 11, 12 years. That's the average. When ACCSE came through, they were, they're always amazed at that. But yes, and we work very, very closely. Admissions works very, very closely with the financial aid department. So when the student enrolls, we make them the appointment with educational funding. And to your point, they go through the FAFSA, and then they sit down one-on-one, and there's all different types of things. It's very complicated, and unless you're dealing with the professional, it's like doing your taxes. Unless you're dealing with a professional, let that professional they can find $1 here, $1 there, and try to help as much as possible. And then if there is a gap, then there is sometimes there's opportunities for the student to pay a little bit every month to be able to attend school. So there's all different types of scenarios.
And with COVID, one more question. And with COVID, with what's happened with the COVID-19 situation, I'm assuming that you, like many other schools, have done. You're doing a lot of this virtually.
Yes.
Admissions, financial aid, whatever it is. So it's not like the student or the counselor has to worry about the student coming into one of your facilities. They can do probably, I would guess, maybe 90% of it without even having to be in front of somebody, right?
Yeah, that's right. Right, absolutely. Yeah, it was easy for us to pivot in the virtual world in Zoom and GoToMeeting, Microsoft Teams, all that stuff. We were already doing it because this is what we do, career education, and our IT departments were very helpful. So yes, the average student, the didactic portion is all learning online, and then we do have some lab time. Some of it is done virtually, and we do have small groups that come in. And small groups according to whatever the numbers are at the given time, and then we do have some small groups come in and they might do some lab work in the lab, electrical lab or an HVAC lab. But yes, all the didactic is done synchronous and asynchronous at this time, and it's working really, really well. And I know, hey, God bless all of you guys out there, and gals and guys. I don't mean to say guys, all you professionals out there for working with your students in high school and parents and things like that. Yeah, the answer to the question is yes.
We have a couple more questions, actually. Lots of questions. Those are great. We have a question that says, what type of GPA is admitted into the practical nursing program, or is there a GPA requirement for that?
Right. Okay. So when we went before the Board of Nursing in 2005, I was there at the presentations and things like that. We really set our standards high, and I think they were happy with it. And what we do is there is no GPA specifically, but the way that the admissions goes is there's the Wonderlic test, and many of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with that. So they take the Wonderlic test. Once they get a passing score on that, then they take the TEAS test, the essential test. And once they pass that, those two tests, that's really the criteria that we're looking for. And then they do a student interview with the nursing staff. Those are the three. So it's the TEAS test, the Wonderlic test, the interview with the faculty, staff, admissions, of course, meets with them. And then they have to be a high school graduate or have their GED. And that's not just for nursing, that's for all of our programs. We don't do any ability to benefit high school graduation, a high school diploma or GED.
Okay, Jack. And another one of our participants wants to know if there's any housing at any of the campuses, or do you have a housing department that helps students with something like that?
Well, we don't have any housing specifically. No, we don't. We did many years ago, but we don't right now. And what we do have is a student service center. And if a student finds himself in a tough spot, every time you say it, it breaks your heart. But if somebody finds himself homeless or they find themselves, out of a house for whatever reason, we do have a student service department, and they work closely with the students. They try to help them in any way that they can. Hook them up with the state, do whatever they have to do, but we don't have any housing specifically.
Okay. Another one of our participants wants to know if there's a difference between students who come in with prior knowledge, like, for example, 4 years of high school experience in automotive, and is the program any different for that student as opposed to maybe somebody who's coming in without any prior knowledge?
Sure. Yeah. Well, across the board, there's no prerequisites. So if a student comes in, for example, IT, and they've been a gamer for 10 years and they're whizzes at computers, they still have to start right at the beginning. In automotive, same thing. They start right at the basics. Now, if somebody graduated from Eli Whitten or Kane or Oliver Wookett or something like that, Henry Abbott, in that particular major, we'll take example for automotive. Many times we may not be the school for them, for that major. They may come to us, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they say, well, I got a lot in high school, but I can only get so much because of my general ed. But so I do want to take your program, and I do want to take it in CAD or auto. And then sometimes we say to them, look at, you're really in pretty good shape, especially, if it's a licensed trade and they already have the related instruction hours. So we'll work on them that way. But sometimes they come out of, I graduated from a technical high school myself many years ago, and, I didn't go into what I took, but so they may end up going, taking that and then saying, I was automotive, graduate from Henry Abbott in automotive or culinary or something, but now I want to go into something different.
Okay. And then another one of our participants wants to know if there's any campus counselors to support students academically or emotionally.
Yeah, we don't have any quote unquote psychologists or any, actual positions like that. What we do have, we have a campus director, and then of course we have team support with student services. Faculty is very, closely, working with the students. And if something arises with the student, we do have the wherewithal to be able to, work with the student. But we don't have any staff psychologists or anybody like that. We do have, of course, like everybody else, we have links to the state. And if anything really serious comes up, that's what we do.
Thanks, Jack. I apologize. We promised a hard close. We've run a little bit over, but we've got some excellent questions. Let me go through a few logistical details before moving to close this session. First of all, for all the participants, we're going to be compiling. The foundation will compile and forward a set of all the questions that came up now and may come in after we close down the session. We'll provide those to each and every one of the participants for them to be able to review. This session has been recorded and is going to be forwarded to each and every one of the people that are on this session now. So if you may have missed something, or because of what happened, we didn't talk as much about programs as maybe you want, you'll get an opportunity to listen to that, and then also you'll be able to get a chance to contact Jack back later date if you have more questions. This particular session is going to be recorded and placed on our website, imagine-america.org, with specific download instructions, so you'll be able to do that. We're going to be conducting a survey because, as you can see, we get a lot of questions that come in about possible topics that make some sense, and maybe locations that might make some sense for the Imagine America Foundation to partner with other people to work with. But before closing, I really think we really want to thank every one of the participants for taking time out of their very busy schedule. In particular, now that we know the demands that are being placed on you, each and every one of you are taking time out of your schedule to join us. I'd like to thank Jack, who did an excellent job on today's presentation, and encourage each and every one of the participants, if they have a question, to go to the Porter and Chester website and or contact Jack directly for any questions related to Porter and Chester, admissions, financial aid, visits, et cetera, et cetera. On behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Lee Doubleday and myself, we would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out and wish you a great day. Goodbye and thank you.
Thank you.